Very nice. Om Shahana Bhavatu Shahano Kunaktu Shahubirjam Karuvavahai Tejasvinavati Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So who will be host now?
So I can make Anindita the host. I shall be doing mostly the talking
Okay.
part.
So I am making Anindita as a host. Okay. Okay. Over to Anindita now.
So essentially, we're just going to see a sum up of whatever we've done in our class. I think we can just add points with each other's remembrance. Can we do that? I think one of us can sum each point across the syllabus that we've covered. Will that be all right?
Yeah, sure. Whatever is possible, we'll do.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Oh, you want me to start? Okay. You want me to supplement? I thought I can do that.
Okay. So paper 1, we started Introduction to Applied Psychometrics. So there, what is psychometrics, the scope, and what is the difference between psychometrics and applied psychometrics? All these things we have covered, right?
Yes.
Then in paper 2, we had characteristics of good psychological test, item analysis, scales of measurement, construct concept, theory, and items, item difficulty, item discrimination, item validity, item characteristics, and we had a practicum on item analysis as well. And I expected actually today that if you have any doubts, we could have that class also, but we didn't receive any queries so far. Then in paper 3, we had reliability. So reliability techniques and assessment, theories of reliability, test-retest reliability, internal consistency, factors affecting reliability, Cronbach's alpha, and we had practicum on test-retest reliability. Then paper 4 was validity techniques and assessment. Then there are different types of validity: content validity, construct validity, predictive validity, then criterion validity, differential validity also. We did one practicum on differential validity. And then the last one was this norm estimation, where we had percentile and percentile ranks. So this is kind of very briefly,
that was a very
I just
crisp,
stated what we had.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very crisp summary of whatever we've done in class. I just want to ask our students here, both Dharani and Prasanna sir, that if we were to talk about usage of all of these concepts with relation to research methodology, where do you think we can use these concepts as well?
Is there any subtitle specifically you're looking for, the terminology?
Not terminology per se. I just want to understand how you would typically apply these concepts in your understanding. Where do you think we can apply these concepts?
Yeah, in tool construction, while we are doing tool construction, we can apply, and maybe we can incorporate that into a research design also. If there is a need to explain how we did that, if you're writing a paper on tool construction, we can explain this in the methodologies also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Prasanna sir, do you have anything else to add to this? I'm sure
See.
you do.
See, as again, out of all of you, I am the layman out of the crowd, right? So to me, what I realized here is, um, irrespective of whether you have a questionnaire or something to prove, right, to evaluate situation or something like that, I somewhat feel that these methodologies can be used. Though we try to say that the same test is being tested again, especially the last segment of that, whatever that validity, what we validated, differential validity by correlation coefficient to prove that, hey, this particular things is not matching for this particular category, so we need to change the questions and everything. So that's I agree, the example I agree, but that's a holistic, this entire approach can be very well leveraged on anything that you try to prove that, hey, this is working or it's not working, kind of mode,
Absolutely.
where you gather the data and finally, like, I felt that's all I feel like this is makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is one important aspect that I would like to highlight here as well. Because when we talk about any of these concepts, it's strongly understood that they are all dependent on the sample that we have to take. So, therefore, the sampling that we choose is going to be heavily based off our research methodology and our principles that we understand that research is built off of. So that is something that we really need to put in place before we go ahead with any kind of tool construction or reliability or validity. So what are your thoughts beyond this? After this, what do you think? Where else these concepts can be applied in research? What else do you think?
When you say what else, like, again, from the receiver end, whoever is going to evaluate your thing, whether it really works, again, there also leverage is right. That's what I feel. I didn't understand the question.
My question was why, how else can we apply these concepts in research? That's all. We're talking about how it is important that we understand what we do in research and what we're essentially taking things forward as. And as I said, sample is also one of the major things that we've discussed already in class as well. So where else do you think we can apply these kind of tests, building or test construction, and these kind of reliability, validity, norm estimation, and so on? Which else? Can you think of any setting or any particular area where we can work with these?
Okay, if you ask domain, yes, to me, clinical trials is a place where definitely this can be implemented. Whether this every patient, whatever they're taking, I don't know whether I answered you or not. So domain wise, yes, multiple options, right? Or when you go for a machine learning model, whether the model works or not, to decide, this can be very well leveraged, whether to use a linear regression or a logical regression to your machine learning models. We can definitely exploit this to prove that yes, it works. Look at this. Every time if we do, I just get this similar answers or something like that. Did I answer you?
That's a really good answer, sir. I think that is a very good point as well with regard to the fact that we're trying to prove something and we can use this to supplement what we're trying to prove. Absolutely. Dharani, do you have any other views on this?
Yeah, I also agree to an extent. And that is a very good idea. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Thank you so much. So that's something that I want to keep reiterating because we cannot separate psychometry from research methodology, nor can we separate research methodology from the basis of psychometry. So we really need to understand how these two are intertwined with each other. We all know the basics of research methodology, right? We all know how to go ahead with research project by constructing a hypothesis, trying to prove the hypothesis true or false, depending on the hypothesis and what result we can expect. It is just a general understanding that we already have a hypothesis, collect a sample, score, interpret the scores, and try to find out what's going on, right? So with regard to whatever we've studied in psychometrics, you can clearly understand that we use very similar methodology, as in whether we're talking about reliability or validity. The most commonly used methodology is correlation. And similarly, when we talk about any other statistical manipulation in, let's say, norms, all of these things are basic, statistical analysis that is required for research. So I want you to keep this in mind when we're going ahead with applying these things in the future, or going ahead with using these concepts for constructing your own tool, perhaps, is that the research methodology and psychometrics go hand in hand always. We need to ensure that our research methodology is strong to ensure that our psychometric construction is also strong. It cannot go exclusively. That's one thing I want to reiterate. Thank you. Ishani ma'am, do you have...
So Anindita,
time-
before you move on, so then why don't you, there is a stress on this particular area. Like whenever I write about research methodologies, this psychometric, what applied psychometric concepts are there, right?
Yes.
Honestly, even though I've done a statistics and everything specific to behavioral everything, for example, it's Cronbach alpha. That
Yes.
okay. For example, that let's take that example, right?
Yeah.
Or the differential validity or percentile or whatever the case. None of this been even explained or discussed anywhere. So why this has been kept as independent of the concepts of research methodology? Is there any specific reasons?
It is not that they are kept independent. It is just that, when we say research methodology and its basics, we just want to try and understand how to construct a hypothesis and how to do the basic statistical analysis. And right now, when we say all of this reliability and validity, all of these comes in when we're actually talking about research that we would like to keep standing, right? So if somebody would like to actually pursue research and do a really good research, they will obviously have to look into these concepts. And when we're talking about curriculum in general, curriculum is not essentially education wise, it is not essentially exhaustive. So that is a gap. I do agree that there is a gap. And that is the reason why we have to talk about it a lot more. That's the reason why we have to ensure that people who are knowing about research also know about all of these nuances of research, like Cronbach's alpha, like all of these differential validity and so on. These are all slight nuances that people who get in depth into research are exposed to, but that is where we really need to work on as well. I think it's important that we bring in more light into this, or even others who are just pursuing psychology in general.
Okay.
So I would like to add on something in this point. So research methodology is mostly a bigger picture, or say a more generic idea, where the focus is on how to develop one hypothesis, what is hypothesis, how to develop one, and how to test that hypothesis. Now this testing can be through several forms. So it could be a qualitative research, it could be a quantitative research, it could be researching on the literature, like literature review, that is a part of research methodology. And also some research papers we write where we basically kind of give an idea that whosoever has done whatsoever in this particular field. So research methodology is more of a generic form, where you are basically putting some idea and trying to test that whether that idea stands out or not. And psychometrics is rather specific in terms of subject category, or in terms of how to go ahead with psychometric research. So or the research things that, like research postulates that will come out of psychology. So this is more specific in nature, but as already you people have pointed out, so this is interlined or intermingled or very similar to each other.
this will work only if you have a quantitative, right? So you enter into psychometric provided your research is quantitative. If you had some qualitative, will still go for this. Can I get a little understanding on that?
We will
Come
still
again?
go into a few concepts of all of these things, sir, because when we talk about validity, it still has to be some kind of an understanding, some kind of a, an interpretation saying this tool is valid. So there are various ways in which we can go ahead with validity. And whether we're talking about a quantitative or a qualitative, let's say, data, what we're essentially doing at the end of the day, if when we're analyzing qualitative data as well, we're trying to analyze the various themes that are present, or we're trying to understand a theory that we can develop out of these commonalities that we find across the data. So at the end of the day, we're still trying to count how many people have said the same thing. So we are still going to convert it into very basic numbers for our interpretation. So therefore, even in those cases, even if you take tests like projective tests, where most of your responses are going to be qualitative, they still have a validity and they still have reliability and they still have all of these psychometric concepts associated with it. Because the way we go ahead with it is a little bit different, but we still have to establish these. That's the only thing there. Whether we are dealing with qualitative or quantitative data, we have to ensure that these concepts have been cleared. Because without these, it's not standardized at all, right? No test can be standardized without reliability or validity or norms. So therefore, it is ensured in many other ways.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Similarly, maybe someone can point out how statistics is related to applied psychometrics.
Hello, may I add one point based upon the questions of Prasanna? That is how the research methodology is important in Cronbach's alpha. Now, once upon a time, I did research on farmer self-efficacy. I published the research paper also. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
I published the research paper on the farmer self-efficacy. So I conceptualized the model based upon the Bandura. I visited several places. I organized several workshops with the agricultural farmers. I conducted some programs also regarding how to prevent the suicide among the farmers, etc. So in this way, I have collected many items, you can say, or you can say many information that helps me to create the items, number one. Number two, when I administered the questionnaire to the agricultural farmers, I have observed that is the convex alpha is very low. Then I'm totally surprised. What happened? Because whatever the items are there, that is based upon the perception of the agricultural farmers. But whatever I have collected, the result shows that is the reliability is very low. Then I studied it thoroughly. And finally, I have noted that in Bengal, most of the agricultural farmers are chemical farmers. So they are applying the chemicals in their farmland. Therefore, they do not develop the self-efficacy. So when I am trying to study the farmer self-efficacy, what is important, that is, I have to collect the data from that population who have a high level of self-efficacy. Then I met some NGOs. I discussed this issue with the NGO people. And NGO people, they told me, that is, sir, this is possible if you collect data from the farmers who are using only the organic. Now you imagine, that is my sampling, earlier sampling, totally faulty sampling. My population is faulty. So finally, I collected data from the agricultural farmers who are using only the organic. They are not using any inorganic or any chemical. I collected data from mangrove Sundarban area nearby the Bay of Bengal. I conducted several programs there and I collected the data. And finally, I have observed very high reliability. It is more than 0.8. So what is important, I published the paper, two things, that the sampling plan, the population, that is very, very important in enhancing the reliability coefficient. It is not the only item. The population is also very, very important, number one. And number two, clear concept about all the theories related to your items. This is very important. So my point is that when Prasanna is talking about this sampling plan, so this is my suggestion. Whatever the questionnaire you will administer, please you think, please you study early that the construct that is measured by that particular questionnaire is within your sample or not. This is vital. Why? Then your sample can understand your item. Otherwise, sample cannot understand your item, and there is high possibility about the ambiguous meaning of your item. So this is my observation. I'm sharing it. Okay.
Thank you.
I hope that adds more information to you, Prasanna sir.
Yeah, it's a kind of like, right? So the other thing here is, to me, right, when you do into research, sampling our population, your exposure also needed, right? Like Sir was mentioning about that he has to meet an NGO and everything.
Yes.
So after missing that, which whatever the sampling you did with the chemical farmers, then only we discussed and everything. So, but according to this, whatever we walked through all the few weeks, whatever the last few weeks we did it, it's more of like the moment immediately we jump into the point of like, okay, the questions are not working, we have to rephrase the question. That might end up right. That's what, because of Sar's experience, he's changing the gears. He's moving towards other people understanding, hey, I got to move the location and everything, right? That's also important point.
Of course, of course. I think that there's a lot more involved when we talk about, identifying whether it's the items problem or whether it's the population. It's just an eye for finding patterns that we need to have that will help us understand which is the area that we need to look into. Ishani ma'am, would you like to go ahead with telling them about the examination and the pattern of the questions?
Before that, Anindita and Ishani, one point, right? This is what I think the other instructor who came in to explain the differential validity when she was explaining with the caste, OBC and everything, right? The OBC or whatever the case was going to 0.75. This is exactly the question I asked. Okay. Saying that this particular test, okay, more inclined towards that the plotting or whatever you get it, the correlation you get it, it's more inclined towards that particular one. Rest everybody is getting 0.5. So I said that there is a huge variation between the 0.15 and 0.4 and 0.2. So would it be restrict that particular test to only to the OBC community rather than trying to target every community? Okay. I think that's been answered now, saying that maybe the population, that whatever the question you did, it is confined to the population, then we should move it. I
Yes,
don't know
sir.
whether
Absolutely. The backstory of that particular data collection is that in the particular sample that was taken for that particular data set, there was a lot more people from the OBC community and a lot less people in the other caste. So we can clearly see that it's probably because of the sample size and the sample representation that there's a difference has come about. So that is also something that we can look into. So descriptive statistics, descriptions, mean, median, mode, and all of these things will usually give us a clearer idea on where to look into.
agreed. Yeah. So yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
over to you and Ashani.
Ishanima, would you like to go ahead?
So we have 5 papers, and the examination structure will be 60 marks of theory for each paper and 40 marks from assignments and viva. So we have 5 papers, so we can maybe assign 10 marks for each paper towards viva, and there will be one viva containing 50 marks. Is it clear?
Oh, what is a pass mark, Isha?
What is the
Pass mark.
pass mark? That we are yet to decide on that. So the
Okay.
thing is, since we are almost at the end of our class, we started on 16th of May. So I believe by 15th of July, we can end this. And there are assignments given. So most of you have submitted the assignments. I think 2 more assignments Anindita has assigned in our Google Classroom. So which need to be completed within this 15th of July. So the dates which are tentatively scheduled, that is 18th, 22nd, 25th, 30th, and 1st of August. You will see that this 18th is a Monday. So the tentatively this theory examinations are put on Mondays and Fridays, our regular class timings, so that it won't cause any difficulty to the students. So you have to revert with the thing that yes, you are okay with this, then we can finalize it. So it is 18th, 22nd, 25th, 30th July, and then 1st August.
Means it's a
And
choice
we
being
need to
given to us. We
complete
have
all
to choose one
the
date, or how is it?
Yeah, the choice is being given
No,
to you so
these
that we can enable all of you to write within these dates available.
Okay, Anindita, the key
Yes, sir.
point here is my exams are starting on 29th. Okay, my second year exams.
Mm-hmm.
So, and between, I'm also traveling heavily for my job nature.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, okay, it's a humble request. I know we have spent a lot of time. We need to conclude this. Is there any way we can do this post 12th August, where my exams are getting over?
We have to look into what the other participants have to say. They'll also have to be available
Okay.
on that particular date, and we also have to seek permission from, I think, sir and other members.
Okay.
Yeah. And another suggestion is we can ramp it up maybe before 29th also, if others are okay with that. So in that case, Monday, Friday, and maybe one more day, we need to figure it out when you will be free for a 1 hour slot.
So would it be a MCQ or how it will be?
It will be a little bit of both, sir, because we will be handling little problems on calculation and so on, and it will also be MCQs. It will also be a little bit of theory. So it's going to be a mixture of all. I will share a sample paper with you all so that you can also look into it.
Okay, so here's the take from my side, right? Let's maybe other can also pitch Dharani and Shashti if she's coming back. My content here is basically I want to. I'm little serious on this topic. Okay, so I want to little prepare for this for the exam. Which,
Of course.
considering my schedules, I'm little overwhelmed with my exams and my job nature. Okay,
Of
back to
course.
back travel is there and everything is there. So I may at least need to spend a couple of days on this paper to
Of course.
answer your questions. Okay, so I don't want to just come to the exam because I know I was a last day student, but still I can do the same thing here also. But at least I want to justify whatever session I attended until this day.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So honestly, this percentile area still, the norms area still, I'm not clear. Okay, there are certain areas I'm not getting it at all. What is going around? Out of the
Of
two
course.
assignments you gave, that differential validity I completed. Percentile norm, I'm 3 times already watched your video. Still, I'm not able to understand what we are trying to say because somewhat I'm getting trapped there. So,
Okay.
considering that, I need to lead a little breathing space to prepare for this. At least a day, couple of days if you give. That's what I asked. 12 after 12, 13, 14, 15th is a Monday. So I thought we can do that. But I'm open.
Okay,
Great.
no,
Great.
let's see how others revert on this.
Dharani, what would be your preferred date?
I'm okay with the date, but I don't know how much time it will take to prepare and all.
Okay, with regard to the preparation, I would just
Come
like to tell
again?
you the PPTs and whatever we've discussed in class, that will be a little enough when you're talking about the preparation for the exam. Primarily, the PPTs that we've shared, if you can just look into it and gather more data on that, that will help you through the exam quite a bit. So that's there. And we will also be sharing a few videos, as Ishani ma'am mentioned this at the beginning of this session. That will be just about Rabindra's psychotherapy, which will, essentially put down on the fundamentals of RPRIT, the organization, so that we can also keep that going forward. So you will also have certain questions from that, which will be based on that particular video. So you really don't have to stress out about finding a lot more information. Just ensure you are able to go through the PPT, understand what the PPT has to say, maybe try and remember which formula goes where, and that's probably about it. You will be able to help yourself to a great extent.
Yeah, and that is quite important towards the Viva.
Absolutely, absolutely. The Vivas are going to be based on the PPT because we will be sharing the PPT with the external person. That's all right. Essentially, this is what you can look forward to when we're talking about the final exams. Just be 1 hour where you will write answers to these questions that we have. You can either type it out in a Word document and send it across, or you can write it in an A4 sheet and scan it and upload it. That's up to you. But essentially, this is what you can look forward to with regard to the exams.
So it's a two-part exam. One is a theory, right, for 60 minutes, and other is a Viva. Something has to be done. Is it right?
Yes. Yes.
And Viva, some other person will come other than you three.
Yeah, we're going to have another person come in and ask the Viva.
Okay.
Yes, and some marks are assigned to all the assignments that you have submitted. And maybe one more we can give. So that assignments also carry some marks, and this class interactions as well. So theories will be for 60 marks, that theory paper.
Okay.
Though Prasanna sir is very keen on studying hard and taking the exam after August 12th, but my personal suggestion, this is very personal, it's nothing official about it. My personal suggestion is once you are fresh in your memory of the class, you should take that. Later on, we never find to study. At least till date, I always thought of giving an examination after properly studying the things, but that never happened. So, but anyway, it's up to you. If all of you want it after 12th of August or something, we can do that. No issues.
So Ishan is just this is what I always say in my corporate life also, right? There's a difference between toppers and the backbenchers. So we start working only before the exams. We don't start it early. So we just need 1 day or 2 days to just prepare and go for exam.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree. I think that's where we can push it a little bit further as well. Let's see how far we can make it happen. We'll try to finish the exam as quick as possible so that it'll be easier for all of us to, get this course over with, and you can wait for your certificate in the meantime. But let's also see how we can make it work according to your timeline as well. Let's just try our best on that.
So, okay, on a serious note, this Friday I'm not available. I'm traveling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This Friday we are not going to have the exam.
Yeah.
Probably the upcoming Monday and the week following that is what we are thinking.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Okay.
Friday anyway we are not going to have. Friday maybe we can just discuss about the rabbinic psychotherapy postulates and all once you see the videos. And I encourage all of you to put your questions. We still have some time, so whatever queries are coming to your mind, so please jot it down and share it with us. So maybe we can address it in the next class, or maybe we can address it through Google Classroom, whichever is the best possible way.
Okay. Anything else?
that is it for today,
That's
I
it
guess.
from my side. Yeah, Nindita, anything else?
No, ma'am, that's it. So with regard to the examination paper pattern, I will just share an idea with you. The thing is, the entire paper is going to be divided based on the units that we have covered. So paper 1 will essentially be our unit 1, paper 2 will be unit 2, and so on. It's not going to be like 5 separate subjects, but rather a single question paper with various questions, weightage given to all of the units equally. That's all I'm trying to say here. So you will have all of those kind of questions where you will have to make smaller calculations that we've already done, like applying a rank order correlation formula or something like that, percentile rank, and so on, which will be very simple. And you will also have MCQs. You will also have 2-mark questions where you'll have to just define and where you'll have to just understand the concept. So this is just an overview of what you can expect in each unit. Right, so you can expect all kinds of types of questions when we say end exam, final evaluation.
Okay.
Apart from that, I think we are done with regard to the information that we have to give. I would recommend, however, that we finish off the exam by 18th or the 25th, if possible, because that will make it easier for you all, because you will be, as Isani ma'am also mentioned, it's going to be a little bit, along with whatever we have already studied.
Yeah,
So it will be a little bit.
Yeah, and to request you all, and we will ask Srishti as well to confirm on this maybe by tomorrow, because accordingly there are many back-end process which has to start. So please confirm your convenient exam dates, at least the starting date, the ending date, by tomorrow.
Oh, in that case, see, I would say that if you cannot wait until mid of August,
Mhm.
I don't want to take a risk of 25th of. There is a week where my exams are starting, so I would hold it on 18th. Okay, so somewhat I close it from my side and move out.
Okay, 18th or 22nd will be okay with you, sir?
Yeah.
22nd is the same week's Friday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
All right. Dharani, would that be okay with you as well?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then we'll just confirm with Srishti ma'am, and then we can confirm on that. Shani ma'am, will that be fine?
Yeah, that will be fine.
Awesome. I think for today we are done with sharing information of whatever we have to share with you. we will share the video links in the group so that you can just take a look when you have the time. And we
I
will-
have jotted down these video links. I have jotted down date wise also. That also I shall share in the group. So the
Yes,
topic, the date, and the video link that you can avail.
Yes,
The
that will be very
norms
useful.
PPT is not shared. Can you share that also?
Yes, I will share that, sir. I will share that.
I might need 15-20 minutes, Anidita, on the norms.
Sure, sir. You can get in touch with me anytime.
I'll ping you sometime this week.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
Okay then. Best of luck.
Bye. Cheers.
Okay, sir, would you like to end the meeting, sir?
Yeah, I think there is no other question.
No
So,
question.
okay. Okay, thank you. So now I am requesting to close your hands for the prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all. Have a good night.